It's the talk of the town. So come on and listen now. It's Deano's Night Out on WRMN 1410. On WRMN, it's the talk of the town. So come on and listen now. It's Deano's Night Out on WRMN 1410.
And good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Deano's Night Out. Got a great show for you today. It's a nice day outside, and it's a great day to have a good conversation. In the studio today, we have a fine gentleman. He's been on here once before. His name is Kenn Hundley, and Kenn is the brother to Mr. Hundley from the Chicago Cubs, Randy Hundley. And you know, he's got his own name. He's got his own things that he's doing. So we're going to be talking to him in a few moments. Tagging along with me, I have is David Tees, our very own he's got his own show on Saturdays. He's doing the Fantasy Sports Blitz, which is on Saturday at 9 a.m. But, you know, everybody knows me. They know I don't know the first thing about sports. So I'm going to really test my abilities as far as being an interviewer and see if I could pull this off. So I brought in some reinforcements. So you're wondering, geez, Kenn, why'd you bring this guy? Well, number one, David is a great, great golfer, okay? And you ask him, he'll tell you.
Wow, he's really put me on a pedestal there. Great, great golfer. I love the game.
Well, you tell me how good you are, so I'm believing you. Yeah. But no, he is. He enjoys the game. He likes to play the game. And Kenn here has got a unique story. We're going to just brush on it briefly. Those of you who've already seen Kenn with Matt on the Out to Lunch segment. But he's got like I said, he's got his own credibility. He has his own resume. To be the brother of Randy, that's got to be cool as heck. But to be everything that Kenn has been as well, the whole family, they're, not to use a baseball analogy, they hit it right out of the park, you know? So, I mean, a lot of accolades to your family.
Yeah,
a lot of good genes there.
Absolutely. And my dad was a great ball player, too.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about, I believe, is some of the genes, correct?
Absolutely.
How the genes have a lot to do with what we do and what we don't do.
Yeah.
You know, so just to give a little background, Kenn born in 1949, Virginia. His brother Randy, of course, signed with the pro baseball contract in 1960. So if you could imagine that. But, Kenn has done a lot of different things. You know, he was 21 years old. He says, I'm getting out of this United States. I'm going to go to Canada for a while. So he went there for a little fun. He went there touring around, see what was going on. 16 other countries as well. He's traveled around. So he knows how to talk to a lot of different people. I like that. I like a guy that could kind of think on his feet and be able to go around. In fact, there was a guy, I'll tell the joke later. All right. So then he even bought his first guitar. He was 21 years old. You know, he could already hear the harmonies and the music in his own brain, and he wanted to put them down on something. So he was talking to his brother. He says, hey, I don't have nothing to record this on. So he gave him a 2-track tape recorder. And from that 2-track tape recorder, the inventor that it turned out that Kenn seemed to be, he turned that thing into an 8-track, recorder. So, I mean, this is a guy that, here's a song, here's a beat, able to put it on paper. Looks into something that's already made, knows how to enhance it. And I think that's what, Kenn has done throughout his life. Everything he has gotten into, he's had a variety of different jobs. In fact, he was a movie actor for the longest time. He was on a lot of big shows, NBC soap operas, Santa Barbara, and acting became kind of, maybe boring for him because he always wanted to do something different. Does that sum it up pretty
Well,
good?
yeah. And most actors, they're kind of one-trick ponies. They're dedicated, but they're going down one track. They don't have side stuff. It's like, I got to put all my energy into this. I've never been that guy. My brain wants to do everything.
And you quit that because he wanted to get into this weightlifting equipment. And it's not just weightlifting equipment. There's 1,000 pieces are out there. But Kenn was one of the first guys. Instead of the old cast iron and ugly black, he made this sports equipment so it could be, unisex as well and attract to everybody. He made it white, made it clean, made it fresh. So he always he has an eye for making things better, and that's good. A lot of people would look at a guy like that and they say, "Wow, I don't want this guy around. He's going to take my job." And I bet you that's what you bumped into.
A lot, yes.
Yeah, isn't that terrible?
Unless they need you.
Oh,
and then you're the best friend.
Sure, until they get what they want out of you, and then that was our idea from the beginning.
Yeah, that's just.
But yeah, there's a lot to be said that the pioneer gets the arrow. Is that not true?
Well, yeah, and it's just I came across the word serendipity the other day, and it seems like that's my whole life. It's just everything's by accident. Anytime I try to make a plan, that doesn't work. It's just taking advantage of just like meetings like this. I mean, I'm eventually going to play golf with this guy right here, and I just met him today.
How you like that?
I love it.
That's what I like. I like going and playing golf by myself because I meet more people like that, and I love meeting people. So there's a part of me that needs input, just like some
We all
people.
want to be stimulated, don't we?
Well, most of us do,
right? Yeah.
and the ones who don't, well, they're no fun to be around.
And they're working their whatever job they do, Monday through Friday, no overtime. They're happy with their check. They're happy with their life. But at the end of it all, you know what? I'm the same way. I've had a host of different jobs with the police and fire career. You always work side jobs. So there's nothing like you can't do in a sense. The old, master of none, jack of all trades. And that's good. You have a little taste of everything. But you, sir, you have done things to where you have gained patents for like this baseball batting emulator.
Yeah.
And it's called an emulator? Is that the proper word?
So I kind of, when I was acting, I got the idea when I started getting acting gigs, I was already marketing a weightlifting strap. I call it a squat strap.
Okay.
And it was just $29 strap. Instead of putting a barbell on my shoulders, I could lay it on the ground between my legs and wrap a strap around the end of the bars and pull it up on my shoulders. When I stood up, the barbell is in my crotch. And I didn't need a rack. I didn't need any spotters. So I sold that mail order through Muscle and Fitness magazine. And I decided, okay, I'm going to up my game. I'm going to create this weightlifting bench that will collapse down into 6 inches and go into your bed. So when I want to do something, I won't let anything stop me. I didn't have a place to do this. So I went to my apartment manager and I said, hey, can I use the rec room? I have some work I need to do. He says, yeah, just clean up afterwards. So I went in the rec room and I made a prototype of this weightlifting bench. And I bought welders and grinders and saws and all. And as long as I cleaned up everything, cleaned the ping pong table off at the end of the day, I was fine. So I made my prototype in the rec room in my apartment complex.
Amazing.
And this bench would collapse into 6 inches and go under your bed.
Now, was this the athletic movement?
No, this was a
emulators?
hide bench. So this kind of got me into the hardware of weightlifting. And after I did that, I realized I'm not selling as many of these as I need to. So I started going around to the stores that sell exercise equipment, treadmills and stuff. And they would say, Ken, if this is great, you got this one tool here, but guys who collect weightlifting equipment, they want all of it. And he had a whole line of stuff on the floor. I said, well, I can make all this stuff. He said, well, yeah, we'll do it. I said, well, I'll make it better than this. So I started making a line of home weightlifting equipment, basically weightlifting benches. And I had to go to a trade show in Chicago. Now, I was living in LA at the time. Had to come to McCormick Place for a trade show for gym equipment manufacturers. They were not painting. Everything was black and gray at that time. This was mid-'80s, and my painter says, I'm not painting that. I'm painting stuff white. I says, oh, my God, no. Well, he had to paint it white. I brought it to the trade show, and in 6 months, everybody that was there is painting equipment white.
I was giving you credit that you were the innovator of the white machine?
Well, yeah, it was an accident.
Like
it
you
was just
bumped into
it was
it.
just an accident.
Okay.
It was.
Well, that's all right.
I wasn't
No matter how
smart
you got
enough.
there, you know,
what? I'm
you
not
crossed the
smart.
finish line.
One part of me is just as dumb as a rock, and there's
Yeah.
another part that knows what he's doing.
I got you.
And I have it's kind of like a
Kind of fight with yourself.
Well, absolutely, it's a constant battle. I mean, the smart guy is keeping me alive, and the dumb guys want to do dumb stuff all the time. I'm not a dumb guy, but I still do a lot of dumb stuff.
But you got a lot of good personality.
I have.
And that's what helps you get along, I think.
That helps keep me out of jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I made a whole line of weightlifting equipment, and I had been thinking about. I started to play golf in my late 30s more than once a month. Up until that time, I was just once every once. And I'm an ex-baseball player. I played 1 year minor league ball with the Cubs, and you've seen that swing. It doesn't translate. When a baseball player starts playing golf, it looks like he's trying to hit a baseball. Mm-hmm. So that was my struggle. The golf instructors couldn't help me with that. They knew they could explain to me, well, this is what you should be doing. So I understood that. But that's the what. If you don't know how to teach somebody, your what is absolutely worthless. So the smart part of our brain said, okay, forget that. Let's make a machine that won't let you use your baseball swing and forces you to swing like a pro golfer. So that was my first piece of movement-specific training equipment. And that was called a golf swing emulator. And the very first person to use that besides me when I got this was Ernie Banks. Ernie was living in Los Angeles. I called him and said, Ernie, come in and check this thing out. And I'm still using it like a baseball player. Ernie gets on it, and he's using it like a golfer. The next day...
And he trusted you from knowing when you were your brother.
Well, I've known Ernie since I was 17, yeah.
Grew up together.
Yeah. And so the next day he goes out and wins a golf tournament. All of a sudden, I became Ernie's best friend. And that machine was gigantic. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing it, and I got lucky. And in a couple of years, I got a big contract in Japan, sold a bunch of machines over there. And it was something I made for myself. So that machine took me from an 18 handicap down to a 3.3.
Yeah, I saw those numbers on my research.
And I had an average drive of 304 yards. Average. I hit some golf balls almost 400 yards, but I was using 120 pounds on the golf machine. So that's not unusual. There are other guys that have hit the ball 400 yards that have been clients of mine, but that's not normal. Most guys won't do it for 120 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I even helped one PGA golfer win a golf tournament. So I had my first training facility in Phoenix in '96. This guy comes in off the street, and he says, I heard about you at a party. I want to check this machine out. I says, okay, so tell me about your game. He said, well, I haven't been playing a lot. I said, well, let's look at your swing and see what's going on. So we videoed. Now, this is VHS technology. This is how long ago this was. This is 1996. We videotaped his swing. He says, oh, my God, I have no hip rotation. I said, oh, that's a problem. Something's off here. Surgery, injury? He says, both. Broke my wrist in a motorcycle accident. Haven't been playing a lot. I'm kind of in rehabbing. And I put him on my golf machine, and he can't use it. I said, Steve, here's what people don't realize. When you have surgery, if you're an athlete, this will scramble your motor skills for your sport. Even though it has nothing to do with your sport, it'll still mess up your motor skills. You have to go back and learn the golf swing again. And here's the way to do it. It took him about 60 seconds. He finally said, oh, there it is. There, he could feel it. And that's the main.
But this thing that you invented, this emulator, is it like, do they strap in type of a thing?
No.
Or does it just not allow you?
It's like a weightlifting machine that's got a handle.
Okay.
You grab a golf handle here, and when you swing it down here, you're lifting a weight stack.
Okay.
So this exercises the exact muscles you're supposed to be using in the swing, and it's also a sequence trainer. So I've got 4 times more resistance here than I do down here. And what that does for a golfer, it eliminates casting. You can't come over the top. If you don't make the same move as a pro golfer, it doesn't go anywhere. So you can't use it incorrectly without knowing about it. So
that sound about right, Dave?
He's right on tee with that one right there.
Right on TTs?
So it forces you to use your core muscles first.
Okay.
But this is something that golf instructors can't talk into you. You have to be able to feel it. And that's something they can't give you. They can explain mechanics to you, but they can't make you feel stuff. This gives you a feeling once you use it 45 seconds. It wires you up to muscles you didn't even know you had. How old were you when you started to play golf?
I was about 23, 24.
All right. So if you do this as a child and learn this as a child, if you had started this when you were 5 or 6 years old, all pro golfers usually start when they're 4 or 5 years old. And they got ADHD, so they spend a lot of time with it. And that's what makes them good and better than other people. If you don't have that going for you, you're not going to be a professional athlete. That's what separates the amateurs from the pros. The pros have ADD in their DNA, and that's what drives them. So when you're using this machine, it's going to make you do what a pro golfer is doing, and it strengthens you at the same time. It doesn't make your muscles bigger. So this is not a weightlifting machine. It has weights on it, but it's not weightlifting. And the difference is when you go in a gym and you do use all this equipment, you're usually working on one muscle group, and you're trying to make that muscle group as large as possible. That's kind of dangerous because there's a threshold there. If you work too hard, you can tear a muscle up. My machine doesn't isolate one muscle. It isolates 80 muscles. So this makes you use every muscle that you would use.
And form.
And the form.
Which is more important, because if you're doing something the right form, I would imagine you're going to feel where you're supposed to feel it if you know your form was bad to start with. Because you're feeling things in a different location. I invented this machine and I made a bunch of people wealthy and famous before I actually knew how it worked. So I decided, okay, I got to do some research. Something's going on here that it escapes me. I know this works. It's not strenuous. You don't even break a sweat using this equipment, but it's very effective. So I started studying neurology at Arizona State University. I would I would talk my way into the science lab, into the library, and I just studied how the brain worked. Albert, the smarter part of our brain, says, okay, I know how this is working now. So here's the deal. All your motor skills have to be learned when you're a child. When you're a child, your brain is helping you to learn whatever it is. If you're throwing a baseball, everybody throws the ball like a girl to start off with. Girls, guys, everybody. Your brain, if you do this repetitively, your brain will see this and say, you're wasting too much energy doing this because you're using the thinking part of your brain. I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into something that looks like a pro athlete without telling you, and I'm going to wire you up to all these movement-specific muscles that you're going to need to do this sports movement. So you learn your motor skill, and that learning's done from the inside out. It doesn't come from a golf instructor. They can help you, but you're learning as a child. It's coming from inside your brain. So your brain has a muscle synthesizer that tells you we're going to make these specific muscles work. And about 40% of the muscles you use to swing a golf club, only about this big. You go into a gym, the gym doesn't deal with those muscles whatsoever. So when you get on my machine for the first time, I'm going to wire you up to muscles that have never been used before. The small muscles that he has that he would have developed as a child, they're in there. They just don't have any connection to it. I think he said you got small muscles. I don't know if you caught that. Just want to be the one.
I'll take it. He's the expert. He's a neurologist.
Go ahead. The small muscles. So we kind of knew that.
So once you get
Samantha will agree.
Once you get these small muscles going, it changes what you have to be able to do. Now you can actually feel what a professional golfer's doing. So this machine will wire you up in 45 seconds. You do one set with lightweight on the machine, pick the club up, and you can't feel the head on the driver. It's the weirdest sensation you'll ever feel in your life. And you immediately pick up some power right then and there. Now, the average guy will pick up about 20 to 25 yards right then and there. Now, unless you keep using the machine, you're not going to keep that. Every once in a while, some guy will come along, he'll use the machine once, and he's hitting the ball 350 yards with one workout. That's the exception. It's not the rule, but it kind of gives you, the top of the range. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a range. Everybody's going to get something different, but everybody's going to get something, period. So that's kind of how this all started. And then eventually I got Randy to show me, before I was doing well with the golf machine, I actually got the Cubs to buy a batting machine. So Randy had told me about the Cubs manager, Jim Lefevre. This is in '93. Jim had gym equipment all over his backyard. The manager for the Chicago Cubs came and bought my batting emulator and took it to Chicago. I didn't hear from him until the end of the season. He comes back in my office in Phoenix and says, I want to help you sell this machine. I'm thinking, okay, great. So how'd you do with it? I got 2 guys to use it. Rick Wilkins, the catcher, went from 7 to 30 home runs. That broke a whole bunch of records.
For a catcher.
Yeah, for a catcher. And he also hit 300 that year. And this new kid named Sosa goes from 8 to 33 home runs. And I'm thinking, I'm in. No, that's not how it worked. Sammy was able, because of what Sammy did, he was able to renegotiate his contract. He was making $800,000 the first year he used my machine. And after hitting 33 home runs,
So the Cubs didn't want your stinking machine.
they didn't like it. And not only did I, and Sammy went from $800,000 to $6 million. Well, that interferes with the business plans.
Sure
They don't
it does.
like that stuff. So what did they do? They gave the machine away and they fired the manager. They're not doing what we think. You and I would think, why don't you have everybody on that?
Right.
Because everybody would want to raise. That's why. That's how the management sees it. Listen, Ernie told me one day, he says, hey, listen, World Series cost you money. You don't make money from it. You lose money. Because as soon as that's over, everybody on the team wants a raise.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Makes
you're
sense.
at a small market like Miami or Milwaukee, you don't have that money.
So what's the goal? I mean, privately try and find some player that's not hitting well and say,
Well, no.
hey, I got a watch for you. I mean, that's what it looks like.
No,
I mean,
the management doesn't want this machine. Now, I've had this in Wrigley Field. Todd, 3 years later, Todd has it in Shea Stadium. Todd used this machine for 1 year and broke the record for most home runs ever hit by a catcher in 1 year. And they accused him of using steroids. They didn't know he was on this machine. So that's how good, the better athlete you are, the better this equipment works. So that PJ golfer, let's go back a little bit. That PJ golfer was talking about, he says, listen, I want to play in the U.S. Open in 3 months. I don't have the qualifications to get in there. I'm going to have to play a qualifying round. And I said, can you hit the ball 350 yards? He's a big guy. He says, yeah. I said, well, in 3 months, I'm going to make you strong enough to hit the ball 400 yards. But because there's no place you can use that, here's how we can use that extra strength. You're going to be able to slow your swing speed down by 10 or 12 miles an hour and still hit it 350. How's that going to help you? He says, accuracy. I said, yeah. So that's what we're going for. We're not going for you hitting the ball 400 yards, hit it 350 and hit it accurately. So he comes in twice a week. The workout is 5 minutes. It's not like being there for hours. 5 minutes a day. Comes in twice a week for 3 months. Had to play a qualifying round to get in the U.S. Open, and then he won the U.S. Open.
wow.
This is 1996. His name was Steve Jones. And on my website, athgym, athgym.com, you'll see an interview with him talking about, well, actually, that's on the longballtrainer.com website. So the long ball trainer is the golf machine. And there's an interview on there, him talking about using this machine, how it helped his game out. Now, on athgym.com, that's got all my machines. It's got the baseball, the golf, tennis, anything you can throw, swing, or kick. I've got a machine for you. And this facility is in Mountain Prospect. I am dying in this facility. I'm not making any money there. I came to Chicago thinking I'm going to help a lot of high school baseball kids. Something happened on the way up here. So I didn't know it, but here in Chicago, they only play 7 innings of baseball.
You know what that means?
Yeah, it's time for the break.
That's the bottom of the hour. So you know what? This is an exciting conversation. Yeah, can you believe it? Dean DeLaley talking about sports. I got Kenn Hundley in the station along with David Tees. And we're talking baseball and we're talking golf all at the same time. They're running in together because this gentleman here has not only got patents on these, but he's made them from the ground up. So you're going to want to hear some more. We're going to come back after a few short messages, and we will return. We're going to be back with Kenn Hundley and David Tees. You listen to WRMN 1410.
Dino's Night
Well, I
Out
tell you what,
on WRMN.
anybody that knows me knows that for me to cut this song a little bit short, we got someone very interesting in the studio today. And today we have a gentleman. His name is Kenn Hundley. And he's got some just exciting things he's talking about. He's a patent and innovator. Is that the word? I guess he is an innovator. But he's a guy that makes all these different inventions to help people with their baseball swing, help people with their, what's the other thing?
Golf swing?
Golf swing, that's it. I couldn't get the word out. Which is why I've got my good friend David Tees in here as well. How are you, David?
Good. How's you doing?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Just coming back. Had a couple of replays the last week or two. Haven't been up to snuff here, but what a show to come back to. We got Mr. Excitement over here. Ron, I mean, what's with the Ron? Kenn. So, Kenn, I'm going to show a few pictures for everybody that's watching on the YouTube. And let's go. Let's
go
go
with that.
Let's
Yeah.
go to you first. No, that's Randy.
All right, so that's Randy up left-hand corner.
Here.
That's Todd right there in the middle. That's
Okay.
Todd on his machine in Port St. Lucie where the Mets train.
And that's the baseball one,
That's
right?
that's a batting one. And he said, why don't we show this? Why don't we take this over and show it to the batting coach? So we take it over to the spring training complex, show it to the batting coach. Says, oh yeah, we got to have this. They got it. They used it. They did well with it, and then they got
Yeah. Story of your life over
story of
here.
our life.
All right. Then you did this golf swing thing you were talking about that you did real well in Japan.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That's
on
the
the far
one on the right over
yeah.
there.
So can you click on that photograph unto itself?
You know, I wish I could. I can't.
Yeah, well, sure.
Let me see.
So, yeah, a couple of, and this was an accident also. All right. So, I mean, everything in my life is an accident. So here's the story on this. I had this machine maybe for a couple of years. I made a couple different prototypes of it. And I'm getting a patent done in Japan. So I'm going to get a Japanese patent. My patent attorney's in Los Angeles. He's from Japan. I met his secretary, and I start dating her. And one day she was at my house, and she sees a flyer for my golf machine, and she says, can I show this to my boss? I said, sure. So he comes over, he sees the machine, and he says, can I bring some people over to see this? I said, sure. So I'm thinking he's bringing some people over from Beverly Hills. He brought the CEOs from 3 Japanese companies over from Japan. 2 of them wisely said, no, this is not what we do. The third one said, no, I want to do this. The third guy had a factory with 600 employees in Japan. He's making about $250 million a year. He wanted to make my machine in Japan. I said, no, that's not going to happen. And here's a problem. You got lots of money, and you have more potential to hurt me than you do to help me.
Yeah.
So until you know what you're doing, I'm going to say no to you. So 6 months go by, and the guy who introduced us to us says, Ken, you're afraid they don't know what they're doing in marketing. I said, I know they don't know what they're doing in marketing. So long story short, I ended up selling boxcars of machines in Japan, batting, throwing, and golf machines. And they are just so far ahead of us technological-wise. It's ridiculous. The Japanese look at us technology-wise like we look at the Russians. That's how far backwards they think we are. And everything over there is automated and all that stuff. So that's how the Japanese think. Let's go to the picture on the far left here. That's Eric Suttle. I was in Atlanta in 2009. Eric was in a batting cage. I went there to get some high school kids to come over to my new facility. All the high school kids had their own trainers. So they wouldn't even talk to me. Eric is in the batting cage, and he comes out, and I say, hey, are you playing any baseball? He says, yeah. Ironically, he's playing semi-pro ball in Chicago in the summertime. He's a high school substitute teacher, but he's playing semi-pro ball up here. I says, do you want to play pro ball? He said, oh, yeah, of course. I said, don't say of course. So you don't have the head to play pro ball. But here's what I'm going to do. I showed him the machine, the batting machine. I said, I'm going to let you come and train on this machine and the throwing machine for free. And in 4 months, I'm going to make you as strong as any major league ball player throwing or hitting. And he looked at me sideways like, you're full of it. I said, yeah, I get that a lot. Fast forward 4 months, he comes in one day and he says, he got a strange look on his face. I said, what's wrong? He said, we just came from a football field to throw the baseball. I said, oh, you're trying to see how far you're throwing it. He says, yeah. I said, so how far are you throwing it? He says, end zone to end zone, one step. I said, okay. Now, I told you I was going to get you here. Do you understand what I'm talking about when it comes to the head stuff? He said, no. 2 weeks later, he comes back in. He's got that same look on his face. I said, what happened? He says, I just hit a baseball 454 feet with a wooden bat. I says, I told you I was going to get you here. Now, here's the deal. You're 24. From Major League Baseball's perspective, you're too old. You know where these tryouts are. Show up. Don't tell anybody how old you are. Let's see what happens. He went to 4 tryouts, and the Houston Astros signed him on the spot.
Isn't that amazing? Off of your machine.
Off the machine.
Say that's I don't understand why people wouldn't grasp this.
Oh, actually, my co-host John Payne says no machine will ever help David T's game. He's based on pure luck.
I'm taking that challenge on, by golly.
There you are. All right, let's go to our next photo. What do we got going over here?
All right, where are we?
We got a bunch of people.
Oh, that's me and Randy and Todd. Todd had a celebrity golf tournament in L.A. while he was playing for the Dodgers, and that's at his tournament. The picture below that is me and Todd in Mexico. I took him down to Mexico because I don't think he'd ever been there before, and we're just partying in Mexico and having a good time. And on the right-hand side there, that's a picture of me. I got to admit, some of these photographs are from my book, Chasing Fins, which is my autobiography. So that picture on the far left-hand side, me standing by those rocks, that's in Machu Picchu in Peru. Machu Picchu is this phenomenal place on the top of the Andes Mountains in Peru. And that's what that picture is about here. And the picture in the top right-hand corner is also in Cusco, Peru. That's me buying some stuff at a street market there. So, yeah.
Neat.
So that was probably around 2000. And that is, if you have a bucket list, Machu Picchu should be on it. It is the most phenomenal thing you'll ever see visually in your life.
And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get Randy to come on into the studio. If we can't get him to come into the studio, we'll go to him. We'll do a live broadcast from his house.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, just to have Randy Hundley a part of our broadcast would be totally amazing.
That picture in the middle there of him jumping up in the air, that's from 1969. That's when the Mets took it away from the Cubs. That's the play. That is the play that turned everything around. Up until that point, up until the beginning of this game, the Cubs were in first place. It's the last month of the season, and the Mets win 30 games in a row.
Holy cow.
The Cubs are worn out. Leo would just play them, and he rode them hard and put them up wet.
Yeah.
And the ball players wanted to be out there so much they were playing injured. So the year before, Randy broke the record for most games caught in a season. He caught 160 out of 162 games. And I asked him one day, I said, well, what happened to those other 2 games? He said, I was in a hospital. I get out of the hospital. I go by the stadium to get something out of my locker. Leo DeRocher sees me. He said, hey, Randy, how you doing? I said, okay, Skip. So how do you feel? I feel pretty good. Great, you're playing today. And the ball players would have played with broken leg. They don't care. They just wanted to be there.
Yeah, they want to be a part of the game.
And you know what? That's what makes you great, when you want to go at it, and not let anything stop you. From these guys' perspectives, pain is not something that stops you. It's just an adversary that you have to get over. Yeah. You got to get beyond it. And that's the way Randy was, and it's the way Todd was. Todd caught 2 months with a broken bone in his catching hand.
And what was it? Your father was the one?
Yeah, my dad was a catcher.
The one that taught him on doing the catching?
Yeah. And
that in itself is an amazing story.
Well, it was. And you know what? That was an accident. So this is about World War II. So the Army goes to my dad and says, Cecil, you got to go in the Army or you got to make airplanes. He says, I'll make airplanes. Where are we going to do that? You're going to do that in Baltimore. So Randy's 4 months old. They moved to Baltimore. Dad's making airplanes. I think all of the munitions companies for the war had baseball teams because they wanted people to have some morale. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something to do.
Somebody saw my dad playing and said, hey, and they offered him a major league contract. He says, can I take my family on the road with me? And Dad said, and they said, no, you can't. He said, I'm not doing it. So, but he was that good. And those mitts in those days looked like a big donut. The pocket was this big, and you had to put your hand over it to hold the ball.
To keep it in. It was just like flat.
Your hand always had to be behind the mitt when you're catching. As soon as they made a glove that folded, and this was when Randy was about 7 years old, my dad told Randy, so, okay, I'm going to let you catch, because Randy was playing some other position. I'm going to let you catch. And he put his finger up his foot. He said, but don't you ever put your hand behind the mitt. You're going to put that mitt, because my dad had broken all the bones in his throwing hand, because his hand was, if he wanted her to catch a ball and the hand was here, foul ball will come off. So he says, you're not going to do that. You're going to hide this hand either here or behind you, but the foul ball is not going to hit it. So that was the invention that was in the 50s, and that was the first invention of one-handed catching. And when Randy finally signed his contract in 60, nobody was doing that. And they tried to change that to him. Now, Randy in high school, he was a phenomenon. He could have played football, basketball. He ran track. He ran a 100-yard dash in a football uniform in 10.4. Wow. And he had no muscles on it. 155 pounds, you couldn't find any muscles. He was a freak. Could hit the ball 425 feet on a line. So when he signed his contract, they wanted to change his. He batted .523 and hit for power. If you're smart, man, you don't mess with it. But in those days, a batting instructor would come to you and he wants to change you so he can put his stamp on you. Say, see, I made him what he is. And they screwed his hitting up. And then they said, okay, nobody catches one-handed. Randy said, listen, you gave me all this money. They gave him $110,000. You gave me all this money. I'm not changing my way of catching. If you don't like me, give me my money back. I'll go somewhere else. And they finally left him alone. If they'd left hitting alone, no telling what he could have been. He was just a phenomenal power hitter. He was just phenomenal. But that they said, listen, the batting instructors are still stupid today.
So your machines that you've made, did you form them like after your brother's movements and your family's
you know what?
movements?
I would watch Major League ball players. This happened. The first machine, the golf machine, was in 1989. For the golf, I'm looking at pro golfers. I'm videotaping what they're doing. This is old school technology. I'm playing their swings back one frame at a time. Every frame, I put dots on their body joints to see the trail of movement, so I could figure out what they were doing. And I knew the sequence was important, so that's how I designed the machines to emulate what the pro golfers were doing. When it comes to baseball, I just used guys who were hitting home runs that year, whoever it was at that time. It wasn't Sosa because he wasn't even on the radar.
No, you improved his game.
Absolutely. So, and Sammy bought a machine somewhere. Somebody told me, hey, my best friend was just in Sammy's house and he saw your batting machine in his house in Miami. Now, this is after he's retired.
Well, maybe from Japan they sold him out.
He may have gotten this machine that the Cubs gave away. It's possible.
Oh, that would be something.
But I said, that makes sense. That's why he's still the only guy who's hit 60 home runs in 3 different seasons in the history of baseball. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Your credibility has spoken for itself, and everything I've read on the website, that wasn't just you writing it. It was other people writing stories about you. So I'm not going to make it a challenge, but maybe a challenge. Because his partner is saying that he can't golf, that he's only he's only a luck golfer.
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
I know Dave has love of the game. I know Dave has some technique because he does golf pretty well from the people I've spoken to. You going to be able to increase David's game?
Yeah. He's got. This is what he's got. He's got the attitude. Without that, nothing happens. It really doesn't. And you gotta be open to stuff you haven't done before. If you're closed-minded, if you got a stubborn head, you got a stubborn body, and this doesn't work with a stubborn body. You got to let go of what you think you should be doing and let this machine teach you what to do. So the average golfer will pick up, if they're using it 3 days a week, 5 minutes a day, you'll pick up 40 yards in 2 months, and that's not coming out of your shoestring. That's you not using any additional effort. So this machine is a phenomenal training tool.
Yeah, let me just are these expensive machines?
Well, it is now because it's
inflation.
Here's the problem. If I'm making it's like making cars 1 or 2 at a time.
Sure.
There's no profit in it. So lately I've been selling the golf machines for $10,000, and the guys with money are buying them up just as fast as I can make them. If you give me $15,000, I will guarantee you 40 yards on your drive in 2 months. Whether doesn't make any difference. If you don't get it, you get your money back. If you're confident with what you're feeling on your machine the first time you use it, you can buy it for $10,000, and I'm still going to train you how to use it. But I'm not going to be there for weeks at a time. So it'll make a huge difference. Even with the average golfer is 15 handicap. I can cut that in half in about 3 months and give you a better swing. And here's the deal. It's not just one swing that we're building. This machine's going to work with your body and work with you and give you the best swing that your body can produce, not something that somebody else is doing. So we're all different. If there were only one body, there would only be one golf swing. But because everybody's got different things going on, people got different injuries, people have different vocational muscles, all that stuff changes what you have the ability to do with the golf club. But this machine is still going to make all of that work and make you strong.
Oh, so this isn't going to help John's game because he's torn his rotator cuff, knee surgeries numerous times. Yeah, so he's out.
Well, but here's the deal. When I was 30, I hung drywall. I hung a ton of it a day, and I destroyed my lower back. After 6 months, my third and fourth lumbar are fusing together. They said, Ken, you're permanently disabled. You're never going to play golf again. You're never going to work again. 10 years later, I created this golf machine, and the machine, when you're pulling down on it, your vertebrae are going like this.
Oh, so
and when you start rotating your
you.
hips, you start making all these core muscles dense. You'll gain a ½ inch of height if you use this every day for 6 months. And you'll make your back stronger. So the machine rehabbed my back to the point where I could work again, And it made my back so strong, I broke a test machine. Oh my God. Some people were in my gym testing people for back injuries. They didn't know who I was. So they put me on this machine. I sit in a chair. They got a machine that's about the size of an old Coca-Cola machine. Remember those things?
Sure.
I got a cable coming out of it. They put a harness on you. They hook the cable up to you, and you basically just lean back and pull back as hard as you can. I broke their machine. So they're looking at the machine, looking at me. I said, guys, well, what is my numbers? They says, you broke the friggin' machine. I says, well, does that happen? No, only one other guy did this, and he weighed 500 pounds. What are you doing? And I showed them my golf machine, and they said, get it. I says, if you got my machine, you're not going to need to be rehabbed. So my machine can fix you if you've got lumbar problems. It'll remove that stuff and make you a stronger golfer.
Now, do you strap into this machine, or
No.
you just hold on to the
No, you just
certain
grab
handles?
the handle.
Okay.
You do this. Do you have the ability to put it up on yours? Can you get Ask Jim up there on that at all?
Are you talking about the one that Matt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Here we
You
go.
can pull that up. We can see
the
that.
video there. Your brother actually, when he played with us 3 years ago, Randy played the whole 18 holes. How old was he then? About 3 years ago.
He was 80.
80 years old, out there in a nice hot day, playing 18 holes of golf.
Yeah. And you know, when he was young, he was a scratch golfer. He got it right. He took golf lessons in high school. So here's the deal, guys. There we go.
I'm gonna put.
Yeah.
Let me
that
see.
video right there.
Which one do you want? The Sammy Sosa
Yeah,
one?
no, the one on the left. That one right there. That's going to show all the machines
All right.
here. So
Let's see if we can hear it.
So this is the batting machine. This is the machine that Sammy Sosa used and Todd used to do all their stuff. And that's Eric Suttle right there, the guy who I got signed when he was 24 years old. So this is the throwing machine right here. This will put another 5 miles an hour on your fastball without you having to use any additional effort to get there. And it's also going to give you a lot more endurance. This is a kicking machine. I let a Phoenix Cardinal football player use this for a week, and he kicked the longest field goal in franchise history. Here's the golf machine right here. So I just grab the handle, I got some weights on there, I start working it out, and it's I'll do 15 reps, and that's one complete set right there. So in a day, eventually you'll graduate to doing 4 of those, and that's all your workout is. It takes 45 seconds to do one set. You can do 4 sets. You work out on a machine for 3 minutes a day.
Now, you can change the weights on these machines here to, what's the highest you could put on there, though?
Well, you can put 150 pounds in there if you want to.
Oh, okay.
But you start real low. You don't need to go. You don't need to go heavy in the beginning.
Let's take a quick look at
What you're trying to do, again, your small muscles that haven't been worked out.
We
Those are the ones you got to be careful of. So you got to start with really low weight. You in the beginning, you're working out those small muscles. For you, they're not even connected. So the machine is going to connect you up to these muscles, and that's why you're going to feel such lightness in the club, because those muscles will start taking on some of the load of your big muscles. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So, and the machine is adjustable. Doesn't make it if you're 7 feet tall or 5 feet tall. I can adjust it for everybody. The machine adjusts to you, and you don't have to adjust to the machine. So you gradually add about 5 pounds of weight every 5 workouts or so, and you just go up there gradually. It's not necessary to jump at it, but you will feel an immediate response the first day you use it.
So my question is, let's say first time I get on this, I use it about 1 or 2 times. Now, when you start working out, after like a couple days, your body hurts for a while.
No.
That won't happen with
No,
this?
and here's why. Because you're distributing this little bit of resistance over 80 different muscles.
Okay.
So no one muscle is going to get overloaded. Unless you put too much weight on there in the beginning, you won't feel any muscle soreness at all. No lactic acid buildup. No, it's not like lifting weights. So there's no damage to you. You're going to be able to play. If you're accustomed to playing on hole, this is going to give you the endurance to play 27 holes in a day if you want.
Okay. Which I like to do.
Sure it would. I got Dennis coming here. He's going to try and get
Now,
make that video work.
Will you up my putting game?
No. So here's the deal.
Okay.
The reason there's so many short game programs, short game has nothing to do with motor memory. It's all about feel. You can go online and get good instruction for putting, chipping, and pitching. You don't need a golf instructor for that. And I know people, you've played with scratch golfers before. They don't have good form, but they're making it work.
Yeah.
They made their game work. So that's the easiest place to knock some strokes off your game is in the short game. But you got to spend some time with it. If you want to get better, you need to spend an hour a week on your short
yeah.
game.
Yeah, that's the definite. Chip in and putting are your short
This
games
one,
right there.
and when I'm training people, the only club I let them use is the driver. If you can hit your driver, you can hit any club whatsoever.
We're going to try this one more time.
All right.
Here we go.
Now, let's take a quick look at the different sports movements that you can train for here in the athlete's gym.
Yeah, that's the batting one.
Yeah, so you can move that forward. I believe you can use the slider and move that forward a little bit. There we go. Move it forward a little bit, kid. There we go. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. All right, now play from right there. The golf will show up right after this.
So that's for kickers and field goal kickers.
Yeah,
Soccer. There you go. There's the golf.
So I'm using about 60 pounds here. And,
Okay.
At my peak, I was using twice that much weight. And when you do twice that much weight, it almost becomes like a weightlifting workout. But your muscles are in shape to take that on. You gradually get up there. If you do this right before you play, you'll. So what happens usually is guys will be. What's a 100-yard club? Is it the same way?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right.
56 sandwich.
All right. So what'll happen is you'll start hitting the ball 10 or 15 yards farther than you normally do immediately. So it works on all your clubs. So if you do this for 2 months, you can pick up 40 yards on your driver, 30 on your 3-wood, 20 on your
I'm going to let
rescue club.
Ken and David talk a little bit here in the background. We're at the top of the hour already, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe you're going to come back again and talk
absolutely.
about this some more?
Yeah, absolutely.
At least I introduce you too. We'll talk about this golf a little bit.
We're going to get
some
him
more.
on the machine next time,
I
too.
think David's the best candidate for this. Folks, you've been listening to WRMN 1410 right here, WRMN. And we've had in the studio Kenn Hundley and David Teese. Kenn is an innovator of all these different machines that's going to either help your baseball swing or help your golf swing. They are not one in the same. So this is definitely something you're going to want to stay tuned to us. We're going to have more segments, and we will talk to you in just a little bit. WRMN 1410.
Not where